Today we are setting up this beautiful Tiefossi B5 bullet journal. Let's get started. First of all, welcome back to the channel. This is Heidi at Happy Scribbles, and I am so excited to be setting up this new bullet journal. It just makes me feel like these next 6 months are full of infinite possibilities. I am showing you a few of my washi tapes here. I actually didn't use the tree one, but I guess that's a little sneak peek for some of my future spreads when I will end up using it. And here I put a movie on my phone, so I watched Cinderella Man, and I was on a time crunch this day to get this setup done, and my goal was to try to finish this whole setup by the time the movie was over. And spoiler alert, it actually ended up being exactly that much time. So now you know how long it took me to do the setup. It was the length of the movie Cinderella Man. So I dove right in doing the cover paper and just writing my name in. I didn't want to overthink it too much or anything. And then I'm skipping past these two awkward pages and going right on to our key page and our cover page. And here is where I need to speed things up for you guys a bit, because it took me quite a while even just to do this simple key. I believe it was about 16 minutes for the key page. It's just a lot of little things to do, a lot of words, and then I do some little leaves here and there, and the minutes stack up. Whenever I'm going to come and do a setup in my bullet journal, I jokingly tell my older daughter, all right, I'm gonna go get in the time machine. And that's because what I feel like is gonna take me 20 minutes or half an hour, it's always so much longer. I sit down and I feel like I have been there for 20 minutes. And when I look at the clock, I realize it's been over an hour, and I'm just shocked every time. I can't believe how much or how fast time flies when I'm doing this. Does that happen to you guys too, or is it just me? Let me know down below in the comments if this also happens to you and you're a bullet journaler or maybe an artist or whatever, because this just happens to me whenever I'm sitting down and I'm kind of in my own world. It just really feels like I've gotten into a time machine. Oh yeah, and speaking of how long it took me to do this, I am not counting one diaper change and one nursing session in between. I don't count those in my time. I paused the movie, I went and I did those things, came back and played the movie. But yeah, in real life, it takes even longer if you're counting in distractions as a mom of 4 with a little baby to take care of. So here I'm doing this like border design around my Bible verse that I've chosen for this next 6 months, and it was pretty fun. I really like how it turned out. It's very easy to do. All you need is a ruler and maybe one pen or two if you want to mix it up a little bit. I did use 2. I made the inner line with a teal pen tip, and I like the difference that it shows. It's a little hard to see it on this video. It doesn't show up as well maybe as in person, but nonetheless, I really like how it turned out. So this is my Bible verse that I chose. It is from Lamentations 3:25. And like always, I think about the verse that I'm choosing because I want it to mean something to me. And it's kind of usually based on what's going on in my life at the moment and what I feel like I need to be reminded of on a daily basis. And so since at the moment I have a lot of excitement and kind of, I guess I just feel pressure from myself to get moving on with plans for some big projects coming up in my life, and it's making me feel a little bit distracted from the present. And so I just wanted to write that verse down as a reminder to be in the now, remember that I am waiting, and that is a good thing, and that things will happen in His perfect timing. And so that was why I chose that verse. And anyways, moving on to the calendar spread, or the 6 months at a glance here. I just did July through December I penned it in, and then I am doing the tedious task of writing in all those tiny little numbers. I don't really mind writing these little calendars down. I guess it depends on the pen that I'm using, but when I have a pen like the one that I'm using here with a pretty fine tip that's really good at these little numbers, I find it pretty fun and meditative, I guess. And so once I was done with that, I just write in the initial of each month above the calendar and then move on to finishing up this 6 months at a glance spread. And speaking of these little pens that I have, this is also one of the new ones, and it has that really soft gray brush pen. So I went in and made some lines below each calendar. This part is basically just for me to write down any important events for that month. I don't use it as a schedule or really as a reminder, but rather as a record for anything important that happened in that month. Or I do write things that are upcoming as well, but it stays as a record because I usually don't need to be reminded about important dates that are coming. So sometimes the months are blank and nothing really big happened that month, and then sometimes there will be quite a few things even in just one month. So this next spread that I'm doing here on the right, I'm planning on using it in my mommy life, kind of like a tool in my mommy life, but it is adaptable to everybody's life. I don't know about you, but daily life, you can kind of forget about the fun things that you want to do, things that you think, oh, I should do that, or that would be really fun. And then when you do have free time, you end up just laying around or doing something else and not really doing those things that you wanted to do. And so I thought I would make this, you could look at it as like a bucket list or as a menu for fun things to do. And I specifically am planning on doing whatever is on this list with my daughters. I have a lot of ideas and fun things that I want to do with them, and I need to be intentional about it or time just gets away from me. And so that was a very simple one to spread up. I think this was the shortest one of all of the spreads. And then we are moving on to my other trackers, which was the longest spread to set up. So I went in here with the soft gray fine tip of the pen and I made all my little boxes. I made a total of 5 trackers and each one has all 6 months in it. So this was a lot of lines to do, and it took me, I believe, maybe, I'm not sure if the 2 pages together were about half an hour. I think that's about what it was. But yes, this was very time consuming. But in my mind, it's worth it. I wanted each square to be defined so that I could easily fill it in with all my little tracker and stats and stuff that I'm doing here. So you can see I have a tracker that says rain or shine, and I will fill in the key for this later, but basically I just want to track the sunny days versus rainy versus mixed versus rainy in the morning, sunny in the afternoon, or vice versa. Where I am living, it is definitely the rainy season right now, and I adore rain, and so I just kind of want to track that. And then I have a temperature log. I might split each little square into half and do a low and a high. I haven't really decided, but for now I have the temperature range from 30s to 100. And I don't even know if I'll need 100 for the rest of the year because we are past the hot time, but just in case, I added it in there. And also 30 is rarely gets into the 30s here, but it's there just in case. And then I have a gardening tracker, which is weeding, planting, watering, or mixed. And then just a simple piano practice, like to check that off. And then crafting for sewing, painting, crocheting, beading. And if I think of anything else, I'll have to add that on because I do have more hobbies. And just like that, that brings us to the last part of the setup, which are the calendars. So I have been using the quarterly setup for this year, and I've really been enjoying it. So I decided to continue on with it in this bullet journal. So the way it works is that you break down the year into the 4 quarters. Each one is approximately 3 months, but you don't really go by months. I've been going by weeks instead. So each quarter has 13 weeks, and I consider 12 weeks my work on my goals weeks or the plan. And then a week 13 is a reset week, a reflection week, and kind of bolstering up for the next quarter, readjusting and tweaking any goals and things that may or may not be working. And so I, in my last journal, did the first 3 months, and after they passed, then I set up the next 3 months. But I decided to put all of the 6 months here right up front. And the reason being is because that is my first stop every single time that I open up my journal and I am filling things out. It's always to the calendar page where I am filling in whatever has or hasn't happened, or the highlights of each day in their little block. And so I decided to go ahead and put all 6 months together, and I won't have to repeat this now through the end of the year. What you won't see here yet is that I have decided I'm going to make a little key. So if you watched any of my previous videos, you might have seen me make like little bookmark type things that match with the theme and have a key on them that I will keep in various spreads where I'm tracking all kinds of different things. So I haven't set that up here today yet because it will be, what I'm planning is a lot of little keys for these calendar days. So I didn't set that up here in this video. I may or may not make a video, but you will be seeing it if you come back, and I will be using it here. So if you're interested in that, I guess just make sure to come back soon, because I will definitely have it ready before I start using this bullet journal. But some of the examples of how I'm planning to use it are things like staying in or going out, getting school things done. I want to make some keys for some of the certain subjects in homeschooling, and just be able to use one little square, mark that down for that day. And things like cleaning, certain tasks and certain chores. So that's why I say that there's going to be a lot of little different keys that I'm planning on making to just mark down different things that I usually would write down. And so my intention here is to have a whole lot of information in a much more condensed space, instead of physically writing down, grocery shopping or school done or things like that, which take up a lot more space in a small square like we have here, and instead using the key to where I could fill in up to, I don't know, like even 20 different little keys and still have room to write in a handwritten note if I do it right. So all of the calendar sizes are slightly differed because of the waterfall effect that I did, but they're all still pretty sizable, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Here you can see on the last spread for that quarter, there are 5 weeks versus 4 for the previous 2, just in case you were wondering. And then at the top of each space, I write down the date and then the days of the week above each row, and that basically finishes it up. It's pretty simple, but it will get really filled out. This is one of my most essential spreads for my bullet journal, and I could never ever do away with it for anything, because it is the most useful to go back and find out when such and such was done, or maybe when we paid this, or when we went to such and such place. I really love having that record in one easy spread to flip back through and just see it all together there. Okay, you guys, and like that, the movie was ending and it was time for our final flip through. So if you haven't noticed, I love green and it's my favorite color. If you're still here and watching, just comment down below with a little heart in your favorite color. And I want to thank you for watching and making it this far. It really means a lot to me. I love sharing these things with you all, and I hope to see you back here soon. We have a lot coming up in this bullet journal, as well as a health journal. In case you're wondering why I haven't set up any goals for like water or exercise, that's because I have a separate little bullet journal that I will be setting up specifically for health. And that will be coming very, very soon. So if you're interested, make sure that you're subscribed so that you'll be able to see that. And so my friends, that is a wrap. This is the last spread, but look at all of this beautiful potential for coming spreads and weeklies and all kinds of stuff wherever our creativity takes us. I hope that this sparked creativity in you. Thank you so much for watching and being here with me. I love you all so much. Remember to stay thankful, because a thankful heart is a happy heart. See you next time.